It's one of the coldest cases ever to be solved by genetic genealogy. The 1930 kidnapping of a Chicago toddler.
But tonight, some answers to the 93-year-old mystery.
Target 8 investigator Susan Samples reports it was a West Michigan woman, a very distant relative of the kidnapped girl, who found the key.
In a neighborhood south of Zeeland, on a whiteboard out of a police drama, the mystery transported Luann DeVries across the Big Lake and back in time.
I can picture it, yes.
To the Chicago home of little Mary Agnes Maroney.
1930, she was 2 years old. This was during the Great Depression.
Her parents, Michael and Catherine, were struggling and turned to social services for help.
This lady, the very next day, showed up on the doorstep claiming she was the social worker. And she brought money and gifts for the children. It was very nice.
Newspapers nationwide reported what happened next. The so-called social worker took Mary Agnes to buy clothes, but they never returned. And in a letter 2 weeks later,
it said it was from her boss that she took the baby, she kidnapped her, and she's not going to bring her back.
Fast forward 5 decades to the 80s, when Luann DeVries, who loved studying her own family tree, first heard about the unsolved kidnapping from her 2 great aunts. Maroney was an old family name.
And they asked me if I could find out if we were all related.
It wasn't until 2012 that sites like Ancestry.com had enough consumer DNA samples to connect the dots. DeVries convinced a Chicago niece of Mary Agnes to take a test, upload it, and give DeVries access to her account so she could start searching for DNA matches.
I built hundreds and hundreds of trees with every name I found. So then I was piecing them all together.
The breakthrough finally came this past summer.
In the middle of August, I was so excited.
DeVries found Mary Agnes's first cousin once removed, then a granddaughter. She messaged her and treaded lightly.
I didn't want to say, hey, your grandma's not who you thought she was. She was kidnapped in 1930. You know, that I don't want to come out and say that. They just hang up on me. Or
DeVries later found Mary Agnes's daughter.
It kind of scared her, but she says, but she wanted to know more.
DeVries discovered Mary Agnes lived in the same town as her parents for several years after the kidnapping, then moved to Virginia and finally Florida, where she died in 2003.
She grew up, got married, had children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren. So she ended up living a happy, fulfilled life.
Mystery solved. Mary Agnes's parents can rest.
They never stopped looking until they died. And they made each of their kids promise to keep looking, keep trying to find your sister. And then all those siblings of hers made their kids all promise to keep looking and never give up until you find it.
DeVries tells me Mary Agnes's Chicago family, the Bio family, are not ready to talk to reporters. Neither are the descendants of the other family, who say they had no idea the relative they lost in 2003 was actually the kidnapped Mary Agnes Maroney. There's no one alive to question nor prosecute. The Chicago PD Cold Case Unit pronounced this case closed based on Luann DeVries' work early this month.